The last video that we had on the S3 channel, we had a Wooley CRX, and you guys really liked that video. You guys loved the Honda stuff.
Because the car's awesome.
Yeah, well, the car's awesome, of course. We wanted to stick with the Honda stuff and give you guys, well, give us something a little special to celebrate.
To me, I have such a connection to this car. Although, admittedly, I don't have, you know, a lot of comparison because I'm the idiot with a tuner magazine and dreadlocks, and I don't get to get cars from Porsche and Lamborghini, you know. But that's just all the more. That's the selling point for me, is that Honda saw that and went, "Hey, you want to drive the NSX? You know what I mean? Like, you like Hondas, but like, try this one, you know?" I don't know if you can hear it, but when you start getting deep in the boost a little bit, you can flat out hear the blow off. You know, you hear it from behind you, and God, it reminds me of like the glory years of IMSA. You know, it is super freaking visceral and cool. Like Hunter was saying, dude, you are connected to this car in a way that just the English language can't explain. Before 2 days ago, like, I cared about the NSX, but I didn't care. You know what I mean? Like,
it was just another supercar, another car that was out of your realm of control or out of your capability of having. So you knew that it was going to be cool, but you didn't care because it wasn't attainable. And then here we are
ripping around at this 70 miles an hour so effortlessly.
Yeah, like it does not feel like we're doing 70 right now, but we are.
And this is a supercar. It's very amazing. It's very nice. But at the end of the day, it's built by a brand that has always had to prove it. They've always been trying to fight for a place at the grown-up table. People are always shutting them down, even though they've got the best freaking ideas. I don't want to say the best, but unique ideas. Like, they've got great engineers. They've got great innovations, whether it's a NSX or an airplane or a generator or a lawnmower or an SIR CRX from 30 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? They've always been proving it. They've always been a brand that's driven by passion. And so, you know, a lot of these guys talk about pedigree, you know, when they're dropping names like Porsche and Ferrari and whatnot. Well, for me, for somebody that's 39 years old, you know, that Honda's made such an impact on me, and me being a car person, like, this is my pedigree. Like, you know, I love the fact that, you know, Honda's playing at the big boy table with Porsche and Audi and Lamborghini and giving them a run for their damn money, keeping them on their toes. And it's like Leno was saying, that was like what the original NSX did. You know, it made everybody kind of sharpen their pencil again, you know? The chassis is so, you can just tell. I am not a scientist. I am not an engineer. I'm barely a writer. But you can just tell that this thing is, from the ground up, it is no compromise, you know, other than the ones that they had to make the thing legal. You know, tuners, right? I'm feeling a different sensation here. Like, normally you go through the turn, and then as you come out of the turn, you know, you leave an apex, you rip it, right? You hammer it. And that's the fun part of tuners, is to kind of like, you know, like just dip out. This thing, man, it like I said, it's really hard to explain, but it is so therapeutic and amusing to sit here at this, you know, these roads at this kind of speed, and I don't feel the need to just, like, you know, dump it coming out of a corner, but like, it's more fun just to hold that speed kind of through the turns, and it's like it's a very relaxed yet invigorating. So it's weird. Like I said, there's not like English words for this. Like because it responds so well, because everything is so good, man, from the chassis to the brakes to the suspension. I don't know if you guys can see this, but we're just working these corners, man, and I do not feel like I'm anywhere close to a limit. I don't want to be.
I haven't driven a Lamborghini. I haven't driven a Ferrari, so this is my only basis of a supercar. But I feel like this would be the car for me, simply because of that tuner mentality, that import mentality. Just simply because of we want to be the underdogs, and this car is the underdog of the supercar world. Well, almost to the point where when we first started filming, I almost kind of felt afraid to call it a supercar, because I didn't want, commenters to come in and be like, that isn't a supercar, but it is. And it's earned the right to be.
Comment and tell me it's not a supercar if you've driven other supercars and you have a platform to debate that. You want to buy the best car? Find the company that is making the chassis that has to prove something, right? Like, because a lot of times that's where the heart is. That's where, the energy, that's where they really went above and beyond, and it wasn't just status quo. It just wasn't, let's build another model. It was like, let's really do something here. I don't know if you guys remember, because it was kind of like a little quiet and confused. It was like, well, what's going on with the NSX? It's because they totally scrapped the whole stinking thing and kind of, restarted with this new vision in mind. It took them 7 years to make this car? I don't remember the exact, give or take a year or whatever, but they basically, I was saying earlier, they got seriously tit or net deep building the NSX. And then scrapped the plans, changed. They were supposed to have a 10-cylinder in it, changed all of that, went to the twin turbo 6 with the hybrid technology, and that's the thing. A lot of companies would have just pushed it through the pipeline, known that maybe there was a couple things that could have been done better, but you know what? Get it done, get it made, live to fight another day, make the next model better. Honda didn't do that.
If you're comparing it to the original NSX, yes, it's very different.
Is it different? Yes, but the drive to make it and the mentality is
exactly.
The same.
That's where I was going with that.
It's
if anything that you could have done for the NSX platform, this was definitely the best thing that you could do. Putting in a naturally aspirated V10 like every other supercar and just putting it out there with the NSX name is not the best they could do, and they acknowledge that. Think about it, this car is probably a little bit more than 170 grand. Think about the research and development after have completed, or relatively complete, I don't know exactly how far along they were, I know they were really far, but after have basically completed one car, scrapping that project and building this one, what that cost was. All the design teams designing the hybrid motors. This engine is strictly for the NSX. This V6 is not in any other Honda car, engine or transmission, this dual clutch transmission. Designing that engine after they already had the V10, it has to be in the billions that it cost Honda, but they did it simply for the innovation and simply for the love of the car. I mean, who knows exactly how many of these sold, but I doubt.
Yeah, for the love of motorsport, for the love of innovation, for the love of, it's they kind of just gave the keys, or so to speak, the reins to the engineers and let them do what they do, right? And that's the cool thing, man. The fact that they just did it for the sake of, geez, this thing's fast.
This thing moves.
They did it for the love.
It's just so planted.
I want this to be my alarm in the morning. The sound of leaves in the fall and blow-up valves. The interior, I haven't really read any reviews previous on this car. I don't like to get that stuff in my head before I drive a car. But I can see where, people might have a couple little knocks on it because the interior just feels like a nice Acura. There's nothing really over the top. It's very familiar. Like the gear selector is virtually the same as an RDX or MDX or the TLX. The infotainment system, I believe, is the same. The steering wheel is really awesome. Feels really good. That's obviously different than the crossovers, but it's the familiar Acura palette, if you guys know that. They do the brushed aluminum, kind of the waterfall thingy going on in the center with the brushed aluminum, and then the tan leathers. There is Alcantara and stuff like that, but it's I could see where some people would be like, oh man, they should have kind of spiced up the interior. It doesn't feel like you're in an exotic car. I personally don't have a problem with it. I like the familiarity. I like the fact that they're using the same materials that they know is gonna be quality and durable and last and all of that. I'm not, it doesn't bother me in the slightest personally. I'm so glad. Thank you, Honda, for making this loud. Did you hear that? When you shifted, it almost sounded like a tire hit a puddle of water. Just for like an instant, just like, it's awesome.
This dude needs to stop putting on his brakes.
Well, not everybody's in an NSX.
Maybe they should be.
You're bad, dude. You're bad.
You're bad, dude.
My thing is, this is a supercar. It deserves to be called a supercar. It deserves a place with, the other supercars of the world, no doubt. But what appeals to me and my generation so much, later 30s came up in the import world, is that it's still a Honda, and I love that. Naysayers that don't understand what, Hondas are about say it's just a Honda, because they don't know what they're talking about. They haven't felt it yet. So for me, I love the fact that this is a supercar, and I love the fact that it's built by Honda, and I love the fact that it doesn't have the snootiness to me as some of the other luxury brands, or whatever you want to call it, that elitist type of thing. Like, I feel like, if I were to win the lottery, this would be the one, because what's the word? It's not pretentious.